Bryan Young for Slash Film and Star Wars Insider.
Hi.
Hello. Um,
Hello.
so the first question I wanted to ask you both was in talking to over the years folks who've worked on Rebels or Clone Wars. There's a lot of influences that you bring to the table outside of just Star Wars. You know, Dave Filoni said the best way to talk to George Lucas about Star Wars was talking about other movies. I talked to Kevin Kiner and he brought up, like The Dirty Dozen and things like that. And I'm wondering, in the writing and the development of the show, what sort of influences did you two bring as creators to the Bad Batch?
Brad, you want to start?
Okay. Yeah, I mean we're fans of a lot of different things, and we tend to bring that those influences into excuse me, into the Bad Batch for Star Wars. I mean, a lot of what we talk about with Dave Filoni are the old classic movies like The Dirty Dozen. We look at a lot of westerns and the high action adventure movies of the 80s, like the Indiana Jones trilogy. We talk about these things all the time. The interesting thing is to sometimes an idea will kick off just as an inspiration off of something like that, but then let it become its own thing that's true to this show, to these characters, which is challenging, but is also the healthy, natural way to let that go.
And you Jen, anything that you were able to bring in the writing from some of the things unique to your influences?
Yeah, I mean, other than the various films that we are constantly talking about during conferences and sessions, I think my military background helps sort of bring a flavor to these characters, because it's just a dynamic I understand. It's a relationship that I know, and I love writing the banter between this squad, because it feels real, and it feels based in actual military units. So yeah, I'm just thrilled I was able to get the chance to do that.
With this era, this moment in the Star Wars timeline, it's something that we haven't seen a lot of, at least on screen. There have been some comics and stuff. What makes this era exciting for the both of you, and how do you navigate some of the other stories going on in parallel with that? Is that just the story group, or are you aware of that kind of stuff and work it in?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time. The rise of the Empire, literally the dark times that Obi-Wan Kenobi talks about. Oh, okay, let's do it. Let's do this. The story group is awesome, and they do interact with us, and I believe all the different teams. And there are times when something will come up that we all talk about to make sure that we're not crossing the streams, to quote another franchise, too much. But we also it is a kind of a wide open time, because even though there has been a little bit of other stuff, there's so much we can do. And with these characters that are essentially new characters, it gives us some latitude to not have to worry about all of that as much as perhaps some of the other shows do.
Did you have anything to add on that, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, this the time period is really, I think, what drew me into this story, because anytime we can take these Republic soldiers who witness a massive shift in the political and military environment, and it really felt like the clones' story through the Bad Batch hasn't been finished yet, and we're looking forward to continuing that, and hopefully getting the chance to bring it to an epic conclusion as well.
So for my money, I mean, like, I was on board. I was always going to watch this no matter what, but I think my excitement level, maybe it's just been so much has been coming out that it didn't really pick up on my radar. And when I got the screener, I got to watch, and as soon as it opens on Caller, I was like, oh, you have my attention now. And I'm much more all in. I'm wondering if you can talk about the decision to start on Caller.
Yeah, early on in the development, we knew that we wanted to start with Order 66 and see it from the Batch's perspective. A lot of conversations were had in terms of which Jedi would be there, who do they interact with, and the further we got in the development of the pilot, and Omega started to become a thing, we saw this opportunity to sort of do a parallel and bookend the episodes where you witness Hunter's interaction with Caleb, and how he's unable to help him in as much as he wants to, and how he carries that with him throughout the episode. So then when he gets the chance to help out Omega, he's able to see that through to the end. So and of course when Dave Filoni was like, said, had Caleb be an option, it just seemed like an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I think we all leaned in just like you did, Bryan, when
Yeah.
he said that.
So I'm curious about Omega. Omega's a really interesting character. She's a clone. She's, as far as we know, the only female clone that we've seen, and she's got something to her that's sort of implied going down. Tell me more about her, at least as far as the first couple of episodes, which is what I've seen and probably what we're limited to talking about anyway, are concerned.
Yeah. No, Omega is great. She is, I think, the key to seeing this team of elite soldiers have to deal with a situation they're not used to, that they're not equipped for. The whole galaxy that's changing around them is forcing them to do things differently than they have, but to be parental figures, for lack of a better term, and literally as parental figures, I think it gives this whole series like the right kind of shift, so that we can see them be fish out of water. And we do have a lot of action. We see them using their finely honed skills, certainly, but also to deal with this more emotional situation is really, really interesting for sure.
And they have such different backgrounds too, because even though they're all clones, obviously the Bad Batch were created and trained at a young age to be soldiers, whereas she has led a very sheltered life on Camino and has a completely different skill set than they do. So just getting the chance to highlight that as they interact and how they move forward is exciting.
Well, that's all the time I've got. I want to thank you both. The show is terrific, and I can't wait to see more of it. So
Thanks so
thank you.
much.